Hello everyone, Hector Mendoza here. Today I'm going to post 4 videos on how to create a world map. You know, like let's say you want to use it for a logo or whatever you want to use it for in Adobe Illustrator. So on one of them, if you notice, the horizontal lines are arch different on one side than the other. Then I have another one that if you want it arch, actually that one will be the same way. Let me see here. No, so you see I have this one arched this way and then this one's arched this way. So on this other one I have it arched this direction and then this direction. Then I have another world map with just straight lines. So there's a lot of ways of doing it. So I'm just gonna do 4 of them. I could probably do 20 different ones and still find other ways. But so I broke it down into 4 different videos. So if you do a search for create world using the shape builder tool version 1, then I got the version 2, world map using blend tool, create world map using blend tool with an arch. So those are going to be my 4 different videos. The first thing I want to do is organize my windows and my tools. So one thing we're going to be using are layers. So if I go to Windows, I go to layers, this layers will show up here. Right now what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab this box, take it to the right until you see that blue line, release it, and it snaps to that right line. Okay, the next one I want to use is stroke. So if I go to stroke, it opens up here, and I'm going to stick this right here, right next to the layer, and you see that blue line, you release it. Another one I want to use is stroke. Let me see, swatches. Okay, so if I go to swatches, it'll show up here, and then I'm just gonna put him in there. Now I got layers, strokes, and swatches. Some tools that we're going to be using, and the main ones are going to be my elliptical tool. So if you click here, if you left click and select one of these tools, yours might look like this. Okay, so if you left click it, then if you just go down to elliptical tool, that's the one we're going to use. So I released it there, so that the next time I go to that area, I'm going to be using that particular one. Also, you see right here, yours might look like this, or it might look like this. We want to make sure we left click and select line segment, because that's the one we're going to be using. Now this tool right here, this is the the shape builder tool. That yours might look like this, or it might look like this. Okay, so if you left click, just left click on the shape builder tool, now we're organized. Now it's going to make it real easy for us to continue. The first thing we want to do is make sure that both of us are using the page setup options. So if you hit Control, Alt, and P, here, make sure you click here, Control, Alt, P, you'll get this dialog that says Document Setup. One thing what I'm going to be using is points. You can use picas, inches, feet, any one of those, millimeters, centimeters, meters. Well, for this particular one, let's use points. That way we don't have to worry about 3/16 of an inch and so forth. But let's for right now, let's just use points. So hit OK. The first thing we're going to do is create a circle. So we're going to go to the ellipse tool, And all we're going to do is just left click on the left hand side or anywhere, right? I want you to type 300, and then you can hit tab and type 300. That'll give us a perfect a 300 by 300 circle, because if you don't, you could actually you could make it oblong by accident, so we want to make sure that it's not oblong like that. Now the next thing I want to go ahead and do is select it. I want you to hit Control X. Then the next thing I want you to do is hit Control 0 and hit Control V. That way it places it right dead center of your page. So let me show you. You don't have to do this, but I want to show you what would happen. So I'm going to hit Control X. I'm going to move my page up here, and I'm going to hit Control V. You see where it placed it? It placed it right dead center of my page, and that's not what we want. To make things easier, I'm going to hit delete. I'm going to hit Control 0 and hit Control V, and that places it right dead center. That's the first, we want to make sure that's the first thing we do. The next thing I want to do is I want to duplicate this circle. The easiest way to duplicate this circle in the same spot and this everything exactly the way it is here, if you go to layers, you see these three little lines down here. It's either 3 or 4, it's hard to see, but this lines right here, if you left click, you see right here you have the option of duplicating layer 1. Before we do that, let's get a little more organized. Since this is my circle, I'm going to double click here on this layer and I'm going to call it circle. Okay, hit enter. Now while I have circle selected, I can go in here and now it'll say duplicate circle. So I'll click on duplicate circle. Now you see I can turn off my layers, the view. If I turn this one on, you can see there's a circle. If I turn it off, there's nothing there. Go to the left, I got a circle. Now I don't. And I'll show you how to lock those later, and there's a good reason for them. I don't know if I need it on this particular video or not, but for right now, this is the first thing I want you to do. The next thing I want to do is create some lines, and we're going to use the line segment tool for this. So let's go to that tool. You see right here, the line segment tool. We're going to click on this anywhere. I don't care, just start on the left hand side. I want you to left click, drag it to the right, hold your shift key. So watch this. See, if you don't hold your shift key, you can take it out of, it won't be straight. So if you hold your shift key, see, it keeps you from making it unstraight. So just put it anywhere. I don't care where you put it, release it. Now I want you to select the selection tool. Okay, now when I ask you to use particular tools, there's a reason why we do that. But now while I have this line selected, look up here. So this is your X, this is your Y, this is your width. Okay, so that's X coordinates, Y coordinate. This is the width of the line, and this is the the point of the line. So on the width of this line, we're gonna, you see how I double click here? I want to change that to a 400, and I'm going to hit enter. Now while I still have this selection tool and have this line tool selected, I'm going to hit Control X. I'm going to hit Control 0. I know I haven't changed it, but I have a habit of hitting Control 0 all the time. And then I'm going to hit Control V. That places that line directly on top of that circle. Now there's two ways of getting this line and the top to be equal to each other horizontally. We're going to do it the easy way. While I have this line selected, I'm going to hold my shift key. Okay, so it deselected. So keep holding your shift key, select it, and then you can move it up. Okay, now when you are moving it up, you're gonna see, you see how it says intersected and it's snapped to it. First I want you to release your mouse, and then you can release your shift key. Now what we're going to do is we're gonna duplicate it, keep it in the same center, and we're gonna copy it and move it down right, oops, excuse me, right to here. So, okay, so deselect everything. I want you to hit Shift, Control, Alt. I want you to click on the line with your left mouse. You're gonna go down and you're gonna snap to the bottom of that. You'll see it. You see how it's snapped right there? You're gonna release your mouse, and then you can release all your other keys. Everything right now is centered. So I'll let you catch up with me. Go ahead and do that. So for this lesson, I want you to select this line. Okay, and you'll see it selected. I want you to hold the Shift key and select the next line. Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna go to Objects, we're gonna go to Blend, we're gonna go Blend Options. Under the spacing, I want to use Special Steps or Specified Steps, and here I want to click on 9, and you can click on this orientation, and then you hit OK. Now you go back to Objects, go to Blend. This time I want you to Make, and now you have, in between those two lines, you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 lines in between those two horizontal lines. So go ahead and do that. And I'll tell you what, before we let's go ahead and duplicate this. So right now this line is, if you see this little blue dot here, it tells you what what layer it's in, right? So let's go ahead, click on this lines, and let's create a new layer, and let's call this horizontal lines. Okay, and let's hit OK. Now right now these lines are not on that layer we created. When you select something, you see that little blue dot, it's telling you where in relations to your layers it is. So I want you to grab that little line, blue dot, and move it up. Now let me show you. If you click here, it hides the line. Okay, so now if I click here, you didn't see it, but now you can't see it. So look, I'm going to click here. You don't see this one here, right? But if I click here, you see it. So I have a circle here, which is the circle copy, and I got the circle. So this is where we're at right now. So I'll let you catch up with me. Alright, so while we have this line selected, the next thing we want to do is go to Object. I want you to go to Envelope Distort, then go to Make with Warp. Then you're going to get this dialog box. Make sure that here, yours might say Arch, but we want to go to Bulge. Yours might say Horizontal or Vertical. The one we want right now is horizontal, and then we want to make sure that is set to 50%. Okay, and we hit OK. Now the next thing, while we have this selected, we're going to change the width and the height of this object. Okay, so you see right here you have let me see, 3, 6, 8 little boxes and one in the center. This tells the machine how to enlarge, reduce, rotate, do a bunch of different things, right, on a selected object. So don't do this. I'm just going to show you. So if I click here and I change my width to, let's say, 300, you see what it did? It moved it to the left, right? That's not what we're looking for. What we want to make sure, I want you to click in the center of that this box right here. Now when we go to the width, so it's going to be right here where's W, we're going to change it to 300, let's just say 310 points, just a little bit bigger than the circle that we have. And I'll explain why we did all that later. On the height, I do want to change that to 300, which is the size. Oh, you see, I didn't select everything, so I'm going to double click, select everything, hit 300 and hit enter. Now that makes it exactly to the size that I want. Okay, so go ahead, catch up with me, and then we'll go to the next step. So the next thing I want to do is remove all this extra lines on the outside of the circle. That is why I added a little bit there. Instead of 300 width, we added 325. Now if you hold your control key and you put it right here in the center and you use your mouse key, oh no, excuse me, if you hit the Alt key, and it will enlarge right where you have that mouse key. So we're going to enlarge it to about that size. That way it'll be real easy to do what we're about to do. We're going to remove the excess lines from the outside of that circle. And the way we're going to do that, remember that tool that we talked about earlier, the shape builder tool? You're going to click on that. Now I want you to, so your icon should look like that, your mouse, right? If you hit your Alt key, I want you to just, here it didn't change here, let me see, let me click on it again. Oh, okay, so the reason, I'm glad it did that. Okay, the reason that it's not allowing me to do anything, let me first of all, there's a couple of things we need to do. Let's go ahead and click on the selection tool. Let's click here. We need to go to objects, we need to go to envelope distort, and we have to expand. So basically right now there's a lot of things we can't do to that that object, so we need to expand it. And right now if I click on this, see, I can move the whole thing around, but it's grouped. We'll go ahead and leave it grouped. It's not going to hurt us at this point. Now what we're going to do is we're going to select everything, the circle and the line. You have to circle, select everything. Now we're going to go to that tool, this one that says shape builder tool. I'm going to left click on that. Now I'm going to hold my Alt key. You see how that those lines that my mouse has a line underneath there? All I got to do is just click, left click, and go around anything I want to deselect. So I selected that, right? I'm going to release my mouse and then release that Option key. Now I'm going to do the other side. So I'm going to enlarge this area a little bit so it'll be easier for us. I'm going to hold my Alt key. You see, you get that little minus sign and just start going around the circle. Make sure you select everything. Okay, I missed one by I'm just gonna leave it alone. I'm not gonna try to. So I'm gonna left release. Now I release my Alt key. You see, I missed two of them. So you can enlarge it, and then hold your Alt key again, and just select that one, and then select that one. Hit Control 0, and now you are. Now we've done this part. One thing, let's clean things up a little bit. You see right here, I initially, the way I did it, it created a very tiny line here. And I needed that to get everything uniform. But I really don't want that line there. If I click here right now, I could delete it. Because you see right here, I'm using the direct selection tool. If I went in and used my selection tool, if I click here, watch what happens. Everything is selected, right? I can still use my direct selection tool if I ungroup this. So let me show you both ways. So right now, if I click here, delete, everything deletes, right? Hit Control Z. If I click here and I hit Control U for unshape, let me see, go to Object, and you see right here, ungroup is Shift Control G. This will ungroup everything. Now, if I click here, it's still here, Object, Ungroup. Now, everything's ungrouped. So if I click there, I can hit delete. I can go to the bottom, click here, and I can delete. Now it looks cleaner. You see? Now the next part is real easy. So the next thing we have to do is create the vertical lines. The next thing we're going to do is create the vertical lines. If you remember earlier, we had created copies of this circle. We did it here and we did it here. So it doesn't matter which we use. And we did one too many, but it's always better to have more than none. We can always remove them. So let's go to the circle. And let's go ahead and view that one and close this one. So if you use your direct selection tool, do not use the selection tool. Use the direct selection tool. Left click on it. Hover around here until you see that little square. Okay, I want you to left click on it, and it should be selected like this. While this is selected, I want you to hit the delete button, and it should look just like this. The next thing I want to do is I want to click on the selection tool. It selects this. Now you're not going to see what we're doing right away, but just follow exactly what I'm telling you. I want you to hit Control C. What we just did, we just copied this to the clipboard. Now I want you to hit Control F. Don't worry about it, you're not seeing nothing, but there are now two lines on top of each other. Because of the command keys we use, it duplicated it right on top of each other. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to mirror that circle that we just duplicated. So I want you to go to the reflect tool. Now if yours looks like rotate, it might look like that. I want you to left click on it, hold your left click down, and then select rotate tool. Now you can double click here and you see a preview, and this comes up right here. This is exactly what we want. If yours looks like this, that's not what I want. Okay, if yours looks like this, this is the one we want, vertical. It has to look just like that. Okay, hopefully hopefully yours has preview, that way you can see what you're doing. So make sure you hit preview, and then I want you to hit OK. Now I want you to go and click on your selection tool. Okay, and then oops, okay, while this is selected, I want you to hold the shift key. That deselected it, sorry about that. Hold your shift key, click again, and then I want you to move this to the left until you see an intersection. You see that line right there? You see how we have a line going horizontal and vertical? It's a magenta looking color line. Hopefully yours looks the same. Now release your left mouse, release the shift key, and this is what you have. We're real close. Now I want you to select everything. I want to make sure that your fill, that it's sitting at 0. I don't want one thing we don't want is, let's say that it looks like this right here, solid, right? I want this to look like this, otherwise it's not going to work. Now all we have to do is go to edit. We're going to go to blend options, and we're going to pick the number 9, just like I used on the line segments on the horizontal. We're using the same amount of segments on steps. So we're going to hit OK. Make sure you have this selected. It doesn't really matter, but I want you to select this, and then I want you to hit OK. Nothing happened, not yet. Now the next thing you're going to do is you're going to go to object, blend, and make. Now you have that circle, so that blend. So now let's go to layers, and let's turn everything on, and now you got yourself a world map. So let's say that you were looking at this and you didn't like maybe you thought there was too many vertical lines, or let's say you wanted more vertical lines. Before you distort it, you can actually go in here and here, let's go and select the so let's turn that off, and let's select this right here. You still have the option to go to your blend. You see your blend option? You can change that, let's say, to a 20, and hit OK. Now you got 20 lines. Or you can go back, go to blend options, and change it back to 9. Okay, you hit OK. You can turn that on. Now you could even put a shadow. We're not going to get into all that, but there's a lot of things you can do to this. So that is how you do it this way. I have another video that will show you how to make it where the lines are facing this way. Everything is going in the same direction. Right now we got the lines going this direction, and then at the bottom we got them going the opposite direction. So if you like it the other way, watch my other video. Thank you for watching my video. If you like my videos, please give me a thumbs up, and if you're not a subscriber, please subscribe to me. I teach a bunch of things. I can't even list everything I teach, but hopefully you'll enjoy some of my videos. Thank you for watching my videos. I'll see you on the next one.